to week 4 of the Different Sports Podcast show. Here from the press box once again. Last couple of weeks we've been shooting it from the training room at Southern Columbia, but there's a JV football game here tonight, and the weather's a lot less humid, and the temperatures have dropped about 30 degrees, so we can shoot it from the press box. Probably be shooting it here for the rest of the season. So, hard to believe we're into week 4 of the high school football season already this upcoming Friday. Already 2 weeks through college football and a week of NFL. So all 3 levels of football are underway now, and we'll have football every single Sunday until February, with the NFL finishing with the Super Bowl in February. So, as every week, we start with our pick'ems for each week. Again, I picked 10 high school, 5 college, and 5 NFL games. Last week, high school football, I went 9-1. My only loss was picking Milton over Mifflinburg. That was a terrible decision, as Milton got beat by Mifflinburg 32-0. So other than that, I was 9-0 minus that game. Puts me at 25-5 record through 3 weeks. This week's games: Central at Hughesville. I'm going with the Blue Jays because Hughesville's struggling right now to really get anything at all going on offense. Next game, a rivalry, Shikellamy at Selinsgrove. Both teams are 1-2, but I'm going to go with the Seals. I think they have more in their passing game than Shikellamy. Third game, Milton at Lewisburg. Obviously, with the injury to Dylan Farinato, there's going to be a bigger workload for sophomore running back Max Moyers. I'm going with the Green Dragons to beat the Black Panthers. Loyal Sock at Bloomsburg. I'm going with the Lancers. Connor Watkins, through 3 weeks already, has over 750 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, and just 1 interception. South Williamsport at Muncie. Both teams come in 3-0. I'm going with the Mounties, however, to win that one. Next game, Schuylkill Haven at North Schuylkill. District 11 showdown. I'm going with the Spartans to win that. District 2, an interesting matchup between Berwick and Wyoming Valley West. Both teams come in 3-0. I'm going with the Bulldogs because I feel like they're more balanced. Danville at Mifflinburg. Mifflinburg is improved from last season. Probably one of the most improved teams in the Heartland Conference. However, I'm going to go with the Ironmen to win on the road. Mount Carmel at Jersey Shore. I said coming in, other than Southern, Mount Carmel's probably the second best team in the whole Heartland Conference. And I'm taking the Red Tornadoes to win at Jersey Shore on Friday. And finally, the much anticipated return. It's Southern Columbia's homecoming. And in that homecoming game, they'll welcome home head coach Henry Hynoski, the new coach of the Shamokin Indians. I obviously am picking the Tigers to win that one, but it should be entertaining to see some former Southern Columbia blood in purple and white on the opposite sideline. So, again, 10 high school games, those were my picks. College, went 3-2 again last week, 6-4 overall, not too good of a record. I wish I was a little better than that. I picked USC last week. The Trojans didn't come through for me. Stanford beat them in a Pac-12 game. And the other one was a close game, but Herm Edwards and his Sun Devils knocked off the Michigan State Spartans, so those are my 2 losses. This week, a very crucial SEC West showdown between the LSU Tigers and the Auburn Tigers. I'm going with Auburn to win that one. The loser of that game is essentially out of the race for the SEC West already this season, with obviously Alabama in that division. So I'm going with Auburn. West Virginia at North Carolina State. This will be a closer game than people expect. North Carolina State's got a good defense. However, I'm going with West Virginia. Both teams are 2-0, but I think West Virginia obviously has a better quarterback and better line play. Third game, Ohio State versus TCU. Both teams are ranked. However, I don't think you can say, other than maybe Alabama, there's a better team to start off the season this year than the Buckeyes. Obviously, a lot of turmoil out in Columbus, but all things aside, Ohio State's looked pretty impressive, so I'm going with Ohio State to beat TCU. That game is being played at AT&T Stadium in Texas. Pac-12 game, Washington at Utah. It's hard to win at Utah historically. However, I'm going to go with the Washington Huskies. And the 5th game, USC at Texas. Obviously, many people know about 10 years ago, the memorable Rose Bowl National Championship game that Vince Young's Longhorns beat USC. However, right now, hate to tell you Longhorn fans, but it looks to be another disappointing year. If you're rooting for Texas, I'm going with USC to rebound this week. NFL, picked 5 games last week. I went 3-1. Yes, I can do math. I'm saying 3-1 because my 5th game, I can't say if I won or lost because it was a tie between the Steelers and Browns. Who would have thunk that? Only game I lost, I took the risk. I picked the Falcons to beat the Super Bowl champion Eagles. I was wrong, so that was my loss. So this week, to make up for it, I'm going to pick 6 games to make up for that tie. Kansas City at Pittsburgh. Obviously, it's pretty embarrassing if you're a Steelers fan to know that you tied the worst team in football over the last 10 years, the Browns. I'm picking the Steelers to rebound over a very, very exciting Kansas City nucleus that's young. Next game, probably the most anticipated rematch based off of last year's AFC Championship game. The Patriots travel to Jacksonville. I'm taking the Patriots, and the main reason I'm doing that is because right now Leonard Fournette's health is unknown, and you can't rely on Blake Bortles to win you a game. He's more of a game manager. Cleveland at New Orleans. New Orleans obviously got upset in week 1. Can't pick against Drew Brees to lose back-to-back games. Obviously, the Saints' defense stinks. However, I'm going with the Saints to beat the Browns. 4th game. The Chargers make an East Coast trek. They fly from LA to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Although it's a long travel, I'm taking the Chargers to beat the Bills because the Bills might have the worst team in football right now. Eagles at Buccaneers. Buccaneers obviously started 1-0, so did the Eagles. Right now, both teams are starting backup quarterbacks, but the way Ryan Fitzpatrick looked in the first game, he put up those stats, he'd be a MVP candidate for sure. And obviously Nick Foles for the Eagles. I think Philadelphia definitely has a better defense, so I'm going with the Eagles over the Buccaneers. And finally, my 6th game, that's the Thursday night game. A divisional showdown already. Baltimore at Cincinnati. I'm going with the Ravens. Both teams are 1-0. However, the Ravens defense looks like they're a top 5 defense, so I'm going with the Ravens to beat the Bengals. So, those are my pick'ems. Obviously, I'm doing pretty good in the high school level. College, so-so, and NFL's still too early to tell. Okay, now, welcoming on my guests, Julian Fleming and Cade Linn, 2 Tiger juniors that are starters on the team. Slide on into the picture here, guys. Yeah. Okay. To my left, Cade Linn. As I mentioned, junior, he starts at safety for the Tigers. And to my right, Julian Fleming. A lot of people obviously know him. 2-time All-State receiver for the Tigers, who also plays cornerback. Thank you for joining me, guys. Cade, I'm going to start with you. Obviously, you guys are 3-0. What do you guys think, outside of the talent level, has been the key to your hot start?
I don't know. Probably just having fun, you know. We're just having fun. We have like a, you know, we're all friends. Like, we're really close to each other. It's good chemistry with all of us. It's really nice to have for us.
And with the fact that you have a lot of players that are obviously high-level players, some have been starting and contributing since freshmen, but it doesn't seem like you guys are like competing against each other. Like, you want one person to do good, but somebody else. Obviously, some teams in high school have those conflicts.
Yeah.
How important is that to be such a team-centered where the individual stuff doesn't really mean anything?
Oh, it's awesome. It's great to have, like, just have, like, I don't know, all our good players on our team. Like, we all can make plays, you know. It's nice to have, like, if we have a mistake, someone else is there that
right.
Back us up, you know.
Yeah, very rarely will you see more than one mistake in a play for a Southern Columbia defense or offense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Julian, 2 weeks ago, only week 2 of your junior season, you already broke the District 4 receiving touchdown record held by Ryan Kaiser. Ryan Kaiser is a Penn State University graduate, played for the Nittany Lions. He had 35 in his career. You already passed that. What does that mean to you? Obviously, I know you're more of a team-centered player. The stats are secondary, but just to be able to talk a little bit about that, obviously it is an accomplishment.
I mean, yeah, it means a lot. There's some great... Yeah, I was about to say something came up on there. Your battery. You gonna cut that out?
When did that happen?
Like a minute ago. It wasn't like that before.
Okay. Shoot. I'll just edit it. So was his still playing? Did Cade show up?
Yeah. They all showed up. It was still recording the whole time when that thing...
Oh, so I have to edit it when I said. All right, so Julian, again, District 4 record you set. Ryan Kaiser held it at 35 touchdowns. You already broke it 2 games into your high school football season for the most receiving touchdowns in District 4 history. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot, just seeing all the great competition and, what they did after their high school seasons. So, I mean, it means a lot to me, but there's still a lot more work to be done.
Okay, Cade, take the listeners here through, on defense, how you think each of the 3 phases are doing. Start with the defensive line to linebackers to the secondary.
I don't know, I think we're pretty solid, honestly.
And how important is it? Obviously, you saw time last year in the secondary. Julian saw time last year. But you do have some new guys rotating in and out in 4-3 situations and the other corner position. How important is it for an experienced linebacking crew to be able to essentially get to the quarterback to allow for the D-backs not to have to spend too much time in coverage?
Yeah, it just takes pressure off us. It's easier when they're constantly at the quarterback. It's so much easier for us to cover and just to make plays.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, 10%.
Phones died here potentially, folks, but we'll get through it. Okay. I mean, you could say this pretty obviously, but what makes your offense, Julian, so difficult to stop?
We became really balanced. I mean, as soon as we came up freshman year, year before that, it was more of a run-based team. But, as we all came up and developed into, better players, more mature players, we started to spread the ball around to all our running backs, receivers. We had Preston on the outside, and we got Gage, Gavin, and Ty on the inside. So, it's just so hard to focus on one person in the whole offense.
Yeah, obviously, any opposing defense has nightmares trying to prepare for that. Okay, Cade, homecoming week, and it's a different type of homecoming because it's not just homecoming for Southern Columbia, it's homecoming for Shamokin. A couple of their assistant coaches, as well as their head coach, Henry Hynoski, are coming home. Do you guys have a different feeling for this game, or are you still going to try and take the same approach as you've done?
Just same approach, yeah. We don't change anything really. Just go out and play.
Now, in a rivalry game like this, when you guys know each other, regardless of talent level, is it any tougher to play knowing that you might have played against these kids when you're younger, so they might know your strengths and weaknesses?
I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. Not really.
And at the high school level, obviously,
Yeah,
you're doing
it's
so many
different.
different things that, yeah. Okay, Julian, Division I offers, obviously, a boatload of them, but take me through, what has the experience been like? I'm sure at times, if it hasn't already, it will be stressful in terms of making that ultimate decision, but just going on all the trips, camps, communicating with coaches, getting mail and stuff. What has the experience been like?
It started out really fun. Got to go around to a couple places. The first offer was like a complete surprise to me, and they kind of just followed all through. But as it's gone on, as soon as September 1st hit, the mail came in. Coaches have been texting me. It's a little bit hectic. It is kind of stressful just coming down. I got a lot of pressure on me from coaches and from people around me that just expect so much out of me. So it is kind of stressful, but I like having a target on my back.
Very well said. Cade, last question for you. Obviously, you guys won states last year. In order to, now I know you don't look ahead week by week, but what do you think the key is in order for you guys to make sure that you are able to repeat as state champions?
We all do our jobs. We keep doing our jobs, we do our jobs, I feel like no one can stop us. Like when we're like doing our stuff, we're really nice. Like, it's awesome.
And Julian, is it a different feeling this year coming back as defending state champions compared to 2 years ago when you made the state championship but lost in a frustrating game?
I actually think our team has worked harder this year, off-season wise, 7-on-7 wise, harder this year than we have last year when we lost in the state championship. So I mean, I think it's a good sign that everybody's level-headed, and looking forward to hopefully getting back to that game. But I think everybody knows that there's so much more work and just so many more things that have to come into this season to get back to that point.
Okay. Now, both of these guys, as we do weekly, will be participating in our little game challenge zone. But before that, a couple people got flies flying in here. Asked me some different things about bringing up on the podcast show. So we're starting a new segment this week called the Talk Walk. And I'm going to be walking into some discussions that have been popular. Obviously, you can send me your take, comment on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you see it, to get into if you have any questions or anything, and maybe I'll bring them up on upcoming podcasts. I'm going to go into 3 things right now. First one's Southern Columbia, and I am as much of a clothing fanatic as anybody. I like different styles. Nike's one of my primary ones. However, right now, I'm putting Nike on the hot seat, and I'm not putting them on the hot seat to anything of the Colin Kaepernick NFL ad situation. That's all stuff that I have no business talking about. But the Southern Columbia jerseys, and maybe you guys can answer this for me, what the heck is wrong? And I have to announce a JV game tonight. I can't even tell who some of these numbers are.
Well, what happened was when we first got our jerseys, Nike promised that they were good for a certain amount of years. They could remake the exact same ones. And then when Coach Roth went to order these new ones, at least is what he told me, was that they were going to be a little bit different with a little bit of changes, and that's how they came out.
Well, they're more than a little bit different. I mean, for those of you that haven't seen the Tigers uniforms, you know who wasn't on the team last year because the font of their numbers is about twice as bold as it was last year. They don't even have names on the back of them, and if I'm not mistaken, they're screen printed on rather than embroidered, right?
Yeah, they finally got their names.
Oh, they did get their names, okay. So Nike, you're a little bit off the hot seat. However, with how many jerseys you come out with at the high school, college, and professional level, I have no idea how you can't replicate a basic font that the Tigers had. So that's part 1. Part 2. Had this come up a lot on Twitter, especially yesterday. Le'Veon Bell and these crazy contracts. Obviously, maybe someday down the road, Julian, you'll be in this situation. Hopefully. And then you know who your former math teacher was to help you get to that point. Just saying. Yep. We're not getting into that. But anyway, Le'Veon Bell, for those of you that don't know, decided to sit out because he's not happy with making $14.5 million this season in a franchise tag year. Just to let you know, Le'Veon, if you were to live a nice life for the next 50 years, okay, I did this math. 50 years boils down to 18,250 days. If I was to divide your salary of $14.5 million by 18,250 days, you would have $795 per day to spend. $795, nearly $1,000 a day to spend, and that's not including any of your NFL retirement. It's not including the money you've made before, earlier on, millions of dollars you made in your NFL career up to this point, or your retirement, as I mentioned, which will be kicking in, and you'll be getting a lot of money then. So, bottom line, and it's frustrating to see somebody that loves sports as much as I do, people holding out. I get it that you want the most money, but when's it going to end? And I'm sick of these people saying, well, I'm just trying to put food on the table for my family. What kind of food do you need to put on the table? Surf and turf every day? I mean, let's go. These contracts are getting a little crazy, and partially it's the fans that are to blame, because without the fans, these contracts wouldn't be available because of advertising and stadium sales and everything. So now repay the fans, put the best products on the field. And right now, probably the main reason I'm mad at you is because you cost me 2 of my 5 fantasy football games. And lastly, it's that time of the year again. Just want to bring up about September 11th. It's hard to believe it's 17 years ago. I still know where I was. I was in 5th grade. I don't even know, were you guys born for?
Yeah, I was.
So I was born.
So they're youngins, but I was in 5th grade, leaving music class when I found out. It's hard to believe again, it's 17 years ago, but I just want to personally send out the thoughts and prayers to everybody that was affected and will remain affected for the rest of their lifetime. Obviously, we have political battles between Democrats, Republicans, and all other kinds of things, but in a week like this, I think it's important for the entire country to come together and unify over something so tragic that happened 17 years ago. Okay, last part of our show. Now, week 1, Gage and Cal tied. Week 2, Troy Donlin got embarrassed, I could say, by Stone Hollenbach. And last week, it was just almost as bad when when Max Tillett had trouble spelling and Preston Zachman was a better speller than I thought. So, this week, I'm looking for different things, different ideas. I actually asked one of these guys' classmates, Gage Garcia, to give me the trivia idea for this week. So he told me to talk about animals.
Nice.
And I was wondering, I was like, whatever. So I did my research on animals in between the NFL games yesterday. Then I texted him, why animals? And he said, because neither one of them know anything about it. And that wasn't my goal. My goal was to get something that they actually knew. So I wasn't going to type these. So just like last week, both 11th graders. So I'm going to ask 11 questions, kind of rapid fire here. Question number 1. How many legs does a lobster have?
What?
How many legs does a lobster have?
Definitely.
This one I never heard of before, but maybe Julian, you'll know it because of the name. What type of animal, is a Flemish giant? Flemish, F-L-E-M-I-S-H, a Flemish giant.
Does that mean like spits a lot?
I don't know. I don't think this animal spits a lot. I'm going to say, here's a hint. You can kind of call it a mascot of one of the holidays in America.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Number 3. What do you call the collective name for a group of lions? So like, you have like a pack of different things. What's the collective name for a group of lions? Okay. Next one. What kind of animal is a Komodo dragon? What kind of animal is a Komodo dragon? I think that's question 4.
Yeah.
Question 5. Which mammal's tail is so strong that it can stand on it without having any leg support? So the tail's so strong that it can stand on the tail without any leg support. Okay, about at the halfway point. What is the largest mammal in the world? And be specific. You have to say what the kind of animal it is. Like, for example, you have a bear, you have a grizzly bear, a polar bear, black bear. So what type, or what is the largest mammal in the world, and be specific. Next one. What type of insect, I don't know why, but what type of insect eats its mate after they finish mating?
I know that one.
God,
I don't know that one.
I wouldn't have known it. Kind of worried why he knows it. Okay, Julian. Again, Cade, what type of insect eats its mate after they finish mating? I guess that's the ultimate way of keeping the population control in that species down. One in, one out. Bury one and a new one comes into the world. Next one. How many hearts does an earthworm have? How many hearts does an earthworm have? And I'll give you a hint. It's not one. Three more to go.
That was 8.
Yep. Which plus 3 gives you 11. Yeah.
Okay, my fault.
And we wonder why we didn't pass our keystones.
I did eventually.
Okay. What's the closest living relative, this has been scientifically proven, to the Tyrannosaurus Rex? The closest living relative to the Tyrannosaurus Rex. What is a group of crows called?
Gage would know this.
A group of crows. Are you even in the picture?
Yeah. Oh. No.
Okay, and the last one. What is the largest species of the cat family?
What? That's a tattoo.
Anybody need any repeated?
No.
Okay, so each question's worth 1 point. Number 1, how many legs does a lobster have?
8.
10.
Answer's 10. Number 2, what type of animal is a Flemish giant?
I don't know.
Oh, bunny.
You're correct.
Let's go.
Come on, Cade.
I have no clue.
Basically what I said, a mascot, you have 2 mascots. You have a turkey or a rabbit.
Yeah, it had to be a bunny.
Good one. So phlegm gets phlegmray. Okay. Number 3, collective name for a group of lions.
A pride.
Yeah, I got that.
Pride, okay. So what are we at, 2 each?
Yeah.
4, what kind of animal is a Komodo dragon?
Lizard.
Reptile.
No, animal.
Reptile's a species.
Yeah.
What? This
So-
is more specific.
Yeah, that's what.
Obviously, it's a lizard.
What mammal's tail is so strong that it can stand on it?
I said a kangaroo.
I said Tigger from Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, that's I'm giving you that one too.
That's one.
I didn't say it had to be a real one, I guess. Got to be more specific. But kangaroo is what I was looking for. However, tiger definitely can as well. What is the largest mammal in the world, and be specific?
Humpback whale.
It's an elephant.
Pretty sure a whale's bigger than that, but I can't give it to you because it's the blue whale.
Oh, I thought it was a humpback.
But way closer than elephant.
I didn't even know a whale was a mammal.
Okay, if either of you know this, I think you need to get it.
I definitely got this one right.
You guys need to get your head examined or put more useful information in it. What type of insect eats its mate after they finish mating?
Praying mantis.
That's good. I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Praying mantis. Okay.
That's smart.
We'll go with that. An earthworm has how many hearts?
2.
I said 3.
Well, if you add them together, you would have been correct. 5.
So that's a point each.
No. Okay, what's the closest living relative to the Tyrannosaurus Rex?
Crocodile.
Chicken.
Chicken is correct.
You cheated, bro. You did not know that.
Yes, I did know that.
Oh my
yes, I did. So I was
God.
thinking
A
of a
chicken.
rooster.
Okay,
That doesn't even make sense.
number 10. Gage
Yeah,
Garcia is
wins.
looking in right now, trash talking him. They say you would know this, Gage. What is a group of crows called?
A group of crows.
A group of crows.
A flock.
Yeah,
I said a flock.
a group of crows.
I put anything.
You wouldn't call it a flock, would you?
Nope.
I said
A
flock.
of turkeys.
So again, what is a group of crows called? I would say this is the most intimidating group, or posse if you want to call it, in the world. You're not going to get it. It's called a murder.
A what?
Yeah.
A murder.
I don't know.
How intimidating is that for those ugly looking
What'd you guys have?
I
animals?
didn't put anything.
Flock.
Okay, what's our point total right now?
P1. I got only.
1, 2, 3,
Wait.
4, 5.
I got 4.
Okay, 5-4. Julian needs this to tie and Cade has to get it wrong. Okay.
He won. I told him the answer.
What is the largest species of the cat family?
It's a lion.
Gage seems like he doesn't think that's right.
Is it a tiger?
They both got it wrong.
No way! A lion's the king of the jungle. That's why
Well,
I
you can
call
be
it
the king of
that.
the jungle.
Yeah.
The answer is tiger.
No, it's not.
And out of all
Everybody on this
questions-
podcast, please disregard him. He couldn't even teach us Algebra 1. Thank you.
I'm going with tiger because we're the Southern Tigers here at Tiger Stadium. Look that up on your phone.
No, my phone.
Look it up.
is dead.
Look it up.
Dude.
Okay, Cade's gonna look it up. I could be embarrassing myself and looking up wrong answers, but I can't go wrong with the internet. What the internet tells you is always right. What is the largest species of the cat family? And the answer is tiger. So, I thought I was giving him a freebie there. However, they both butchered it. Thankfully, they're both better in clutch time in football, wrestling, basketball, other sports. Again, we're going to have to...
It's actually a lion.
Yeah, it actually is a lager, but
A
Yeah,
liger?
Liger's bigger than